Okay, welcome back. We had a wonderful lunch. Hope you enjoyed yours. And this is just taking a pause just to talk a little bit more about building the pillars of your business. We talked about realtors, SRES. That's a good source for a good pillar of your business, a cash flow for your business. Friends, don't ever underestimate, especially the social networking days, Facebook, LinkedIn, how important just friendships can be in asking them for help. Sphere of influence, SOIs, be it friends or business associates that are in a position to refer you for your product. That's what a sphere of influence is. Bank managers, insurance professionals, financial planners and the like. Just sphere of influence could be someone in government, someone that has a lot of contact with different people, and so certainly that would be someone you want to target to let them know what you're doing, and they can maybe help introduce you some potential clients. We talked about financial, and I separated out banks from financial. Financial would be more insurance, more stockbrokers, and what have you. But banks, I can't overestimate the importance of developing good relationship with bankers. There's a class just on that we probably need to do. But that can be a very, very good source. Currently, Wells Fargo, who was number one in reverse mortgages, does not have a reverse mortgage division. They don't offer them. Bank of America does not offer them. U.S. Bank does not offer them. Who's next in line for huge banks? Chase does not offer them. So they're at risk with their bottom line asset balance of losing some of that business. They don't know that, but you can help educate them how you can maybe be a source to plug that gap for them. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Okay, in your book, and you don't have to rifle for it if you don't want, if you just want to be in the moment, that's fine, because we're just kind of discussing things. But in your book, there's a couple of things we're going to be going over. One form says the emotional versus transactional sale. Another one is reverse mortgage consultative selling. And it moves on to probing to uncover the need. And then there's one talking about the mastering of the art of reverse mortgage conversation. This is dealing with sales technique, which is really important. It's not kind of a warm and fuzzy thing. It's when you get out there in the field and you're across the kitchen table, these types of skills that you'll develop as you move through your career are critical, and skewing the percentage of being more successful at signing a reverse mortgage rather than just having a great visit for an hour and leaving empty-handed. So these skills can make that kind of difference. So I just want to start out with the form is talking about the emotional versus transactional sale. And I'm just going to read from it because that's easier. There's a quote from one of my favorite sales trainers of all time. He was his mentor was Norman Vincent Peale, who was, if you know anything about Norman Vincent Peale, it's the power of positive thinking, and which a salesperson really needs to try to do whenever possible and as often as possible. And Zig Ziglar came up with this saying is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that is so true in the environment, in the arena of reverse mortgage sales. We just had a moment here about a connection about a senior that Paul knew in the past, and there was actually some tears and just remembering the relationship they built. And that's the kind of relationship you'll find you're going to have with some of your senior clients. Because you're going to develop that kind of relationship, that kind of friendship, and that kind of reliance on you as a friend and you with them. But again, if people don't care how much you really know until they know how much you care, that really speaks true for a senior client. And I'm going to read this little bit that I took off the particular piece that I read recently. It says, recently a friend who works in the software industry asked me that what I look for when hiring salespeople. And again, this person is in the software sales industry. And I told her I look for people that are curious to see what's under the surface. People who want to get beyond the tip of the iceberg. The senior housing industry is vastly different from selling software. Her business, meaning software sales, is need-based and transactional, while mine, like reverse mortgages, is emotional and not always needs-based. And even when it is, the customer is often in denial. This is very, very true. I don't know how many times I've sat with a husband and a wife before they don't know that much about reverse mortgages, and one gets it. It's usually the wife. She gets it. And the husband is dragging his feet, saying, I don't know. First of all, I don't like the word mortgage since I just got rid of one, and I don't know. It's old school. So there's a sense of denial sometimes with the spouse, sometimes with the kids. Hey, wait a minute. You have your home free and clear. That's our inheritance. I don't really know how I feel about that. So there's a sense of denial sometimes with that. And reading on, it says, this led to a discussion about the many different types of sales agreements that take place in the world and how important it is to understand the psychology behind the role of the sales professional in order to give the greatest chance of success. So here's the topic. It's emotional versus transactional. I'm going to give an example. Let's say we're sitting across the table on a reverse mortgage scenario and we uncover a need. What is the need? Well, if we only had $700 extra cash flow, that would make a world of difference for us. Okay? $700. Now the untrained reverse mortgage consultant that is not fully trained in emotional versus transactional sales, great, I have a solution for you. Not only can I give you $700, I give you $800. Well, actually, I can give you $1,000. You ready to sign? Probably will. Sign meets the need. But the trained reverse mortgage consultant would be asking questions like, why $700? Well, because that way my husband would be able to quit his part-time job at Walmart. We wouldn't have to do that anymore, and that would be amazing. Well, then the other question from the reverse mortgage consultant would be, if he doesn't have to work at Walmart anymore, how would that change your life? Well, we'd be able to visit the grandkids much more often and have more time to enjoy the things we like square dancing. Being able to square dance, tell me a little bit about square dancing. Well, then they go off on a tangent for a while, and you got to kind of pull them in after a while. But then he said, so if I was able to find the $700 through the use of a reverse mortgage to accomplish that, where your husband can retire, and you were able to, that would allow you to make sure I understand this. You would allow you to visit the grandkids more. You have more freedom to do things like square dancing, and that would be a huge impact on your quality of life. Is that correct? Yes. I think we can help you square dance more. Here's how. Now, do you see the difference?
It's called listening.
Right. Yeah, so you're painting a scene for them that they've already given you all the elements, all the paints, all the colors, and all you've done just lined it the way they want it. So you have them visualize what they're looking to do. So it's not just a transaction. The transaction is critical. But how is the transaction going to impact their lives? That's critical in becoming an effective consultative salesperson. I don't care what you're selling, but maybe even more so with reverse mortgages. Because they, and usually it's the wife, they say, he gets it. John, he gets it. Okay, you're right. He does get it. Now that he's voiced, I was dragging my feet, but I know he gets it, or she gets it. So I feel much more comfortable with this. Now, that approach can be done across the coffee table with them in their own home. Can AAG, using a call line, have that approach? No. Probably sometimes, but more often not. What do you need? We'll fill the need. This will make you shine in their eyes. This will create a relationship you will never forget. This will create much more referrals that will help you build your business. Okay?
And that's where we have the advantage.
Exactly. Exactly. A huge advantage for us.
It's interesting because I don't even call it sales to me,
Yeah,
because you're doing what they're asking
exactly.
and what they need.
That's the difference between consultative sales and transactional sales. Emotional consulting. Okay? So and we're going to get to that in a moment. Probing for the need. Okay? So does that help? Okay? A little bit different frame of reference. Okay, now there's this one that says reverse mortgage consultative selling, probing to uncover the need. Let's start with reverse mortgage consultative selling. In consultative selling, you position yourself as a consultant, an expert, an advisor, a helper, and teacher in the sales situation. Above all, you position yourself as a problem solver. You ask good questions and listen attentively. I can't overemphasize the importance of listening. Too many people, too many sales professionals talk. What you want to do is to gain knowledge of how you can ask pointed questions and let them do most of the talking. And it's basically human psychology. When you create, and Steve knows this, when you create a relationship where they're doing most of the talking, and you may have only said a few words, a few things, they're going to think you're just the nicest person, and not because you gave them all the time to talk about themselves. It's just that if someone will listen to you, they think you're amazing. Especially if you're in a sales situation. So you're not running over them with facts and figures and everything. You're not steamrolling them in the beginning. Let me show you how much I know. No, you want them to share what they feel, what their fears are, what their reluctance is, what their situation is, and then take that in. Does that make sense? And then based on your training, you can customize the solution based on that need. All right? Bear with me. As a salesperson who is a problem solver, you must begin the sales process by asking questions about your prospects' needs, desires, goals, etc. Seek to understand their motivation for considering a reverse mortgage, monthly income, eliminate mortgage debt, eliminate other debt, credit card debt, for example, early retirement, legacy gift to family, a church association, travel, peace of mind. Just say, hey, we've got a line of credit for $200,000. I don't care if ISIS comes on our doorstep tomorrow. I got some money. Peace of mind. Okay, which is huge for a senior. Peace of mind. Home improvements, etc. So you basically put yourself in their position, and then by listening to them, by asking the right questions and letting them share with you, you're more personally involved in helping them achieve their financial goals because they're telling you what they want. Most people don't listen. They say, what's the need? Boom, let's go. Close. No, that's not what you do. The greater the clarity in which a salesperson in consultative selling can answer questions about the product, the easier it is for the prospect, the individual, to buy from you. The fuzzier they are in answering these questions, being the salesperson, the harder it is for the customer to make a decision. So you got to know your stuff. There's no way around that. Or you got to have a link to someone that does know the stuff so you can get some answers. But Well, it's critical that you know, it's paramount that you know more about them and their fears and their desires and their reluctance and their dreams than it is anything about reverse mortgages. Does that make sense? Does that help? Okay. And the way you do that is asking probing questions. And this is Sales 101 for a lot of you, especially a lot of you. But all sales, professional sales, consultative sales, and that's what we do, is you're just asking pointed questions to get them to share with you what they want. They're just going to tell you. So if you can create the atmosphere, but they will let go what they have in their heart, and you take it in, you'll be much more able to help them and meet the need specific to not only the financial need, but the emotion attached with that. So you find out needs by probing to uncover the need, and I'll just read this. In the world of sales, probing continues to be one of the key selling skills. The purpose of the selling process is to make it easier for the customer to perceive what is the best buying decision. In consultative sales, that's what we do, you do not sell them anything. Rather, you assist the customer in their buying decision. It's a big difference.
Big difference.
Okay? Primarily, probing is the skill by which the salesperson gathers information and finds out the customer's level of need. Mixed in with the idea of need are the customer's concerns, their hopes, their fears, their dreams, their doubts. And secondarily, probing question asking can be used to obtain the customer's commitment. There are basically two kinds of probes, closed and open. Now this is a very, very shortcut about sales, but I just want to give you a little bit of sales background, and this is something you develop. There's a book I'm going to refer you to shortly that you're going to make it, I don't have it with me, but you want to make that required reading for you. And it's we'll discuss why in just a moment. But there's two types of probes. There's a closed probe, closed question, and then there's open probes, okay? So for the closed probe, let me give you an example. You're limiting the response. You're closing it down. You're controlling the situation to the question. The closed probe is this your first time to look into getting a reverse mortgage? Yes or no? Okay? It's not like share with me why. No. Is this your first time? Yes. Did you see our advertisement? Yes. Are you new to our city? Yes. No. Do you have an existing mortgage on your home now? Yes. How much? Those are closed probes. Is your spouse applying with you on the loan? Yes or no? And it's used to obtain a yes or no, which we just discovered, in order to confirm the customer's need or obtain agreement. Are you ready to move forward today? Maybe. Whatever the response, yes or no. All right. So if you're trying to, you can also use a closed probe to get a commitment. Examples would be, so what you're looking for is to increase your monthly income, right? Let's see if I have this right. You want a lump sum of your equity in order to pay off some credit card debt, but you want the remainder of the proceeds to help with increasing your household income. Is that right? Yes or no? Those are examples. So enough of that for the closed probes. But the most important is, and if someone can find me it, I don't know where it's at, open probes. This is what I'm looking for. Stevie, help me.
What?
I had it was the next page.
Oh, yeah. It was. Do you have it?
I
Yeah.
do.
Can I borrow yours?
Here,
What, the open probe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in its
There's
space.
some. Oh, here it is. No, it's not.
here you go.
Thank you, sir. Well, I found it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, open probes. Open probes are meant to encourage the customer to talk freely, as shown in the following examples. Mind telling me why you're considering a reverse mortgage? I'd appreciate knowing why you feel that way. I don't like reverse mortgages. My wife made me sit through this. I understand. I'd appreciate you sharing with me why you feel that way. I had a bad experience with a loan officer before. Here's an open probe. How did that happen? Or what happened? Mind if I ask what happened with your retirement account? I lost we're limited on retirement account. We used to have $1 million. It's gone. And the question would be, mind if I ask what happened with your retirement account? And it helps you to get some information of what the need might be. And in addition to that, the emotion associated with trying that loss and trying to find an option to meet the need. Another open probe example. What kind of mortgage did the mortgage broker sell you? Are they going to have a response? Everything went wrong. What went wrong? So you wanted them to, you give them a license to share their story, okay? And then it started going downhill. When did you first notice that? See? So you want to gear toward some professional sales courses, which I've been through, you can take, they'll say you need to ask 5 of these, 4 of these. No, it's whatever the need is, and we're all adults. You'll read the emotion, you look at the eyes, and you can never ask too many, more often than not, you can never ask too many open probes if you're trying to gain a relationship and an understanding what they're going through. Okay. Now let me make this statement. It's at the bottom of the page. There does seem to be universal agreement to one point. Because some people, some sales training gurus will say, what time is it?
I'm not looking at my watch.
Well, what time is it?
I don't know.
It's 12:30.
12:30.
Oh, good. We're good. Thanks, Steve. There does seem to be one universal agreement to one point. So some schools of thought on sales training is that you just it's like a formula. You ask, like I said, four open probes, four closed probes, 2 open probes, and then you do 1 open probe as a commitment. Closed probe as a commitment, and you close. I don't subscribe to that. It's whatever works, and it says closed probes though are limiting. That's true. If you want to control the situation, you'll find some seniors, it's true, will just want to just talk, and you're enjoying it to the point where your eyes start glazing over, and you just not need to control it, and you need to get a yes or no. So, are you ready to move forward on? Yes. Okay. But closed probes are limiting. Open probes are not. Closed probes get customers to tell what the salesperson wants to hear. Open probes allow customers to tell the consultant what they want the consultant to know and about how they feel. Right? Right. So, the $700 a month, extremely important on the transactional side. But why him not having the job at Walmart anymore, how that will enhance their lives, and hearing a little bit about that, much more important. Okay. Okay. Now there's some pages in here, several of them, that start with this little thing. It says Spotlight: Mastering the Art of the Reverse Conversation. Somewhere in there, and it starts to look, people looks like this. Yeah. All right. And this is talking about the elevator pitch. Anybody know what an elevator pitch is? Have you ever heard that term before? Elevator pitch. Okay. And Jeanette, you shared with me the other day. I can't remember who it was, but it came to mind when I was preparing this. And it was, you started telling them about reverse mortgages or something. And it was not real comfortable because it was not a great flow. I mean, share with them what you could, but it's kind of complex. You know,
It is complex.
it's kind of complex to explain. Well, what do you do? I'm a reverse mortgage consultant. What is that? And what's a reverse? I mean, you know, I don't know. Come to the class with me. You know, that's what you want to do. Just come to class. And I'll send you some links to the training. You know, you just want to well, it's kind of complex. So what an elevator pitch is, if you were to go into an elevator, opens up, hop on, and someone asks that question, "Hi, I'm James. I work in sales. What do you do?" You need to have a prepared script that lasts about 30 seconds, in my opinion, of what you do and why it's important and it's memorable for them to take away. And what this does is gives an example of a reverse mortgage consultant and her story about when she first started and how difficult that was. And she came up with a script, if you will. So in sales, it's not always just memory. It's more dealing with the need and the emotional side of the transaction. But this one, you kind of want to script out in your mind so it's efficient. When I was doing training in Boston with Wells Fargo when we went through this, we had to actually develop our own elevator pitch. I don't even remember what mine was back then, but that's before I knew too much about it. But that's how critical it was. Everybody had to go through that. And it could be, we found some of them were just as simple as, I'm able to help seniors tap the equity in their homes so they can have a much more rewarding retirement experience. That's it. Okay? That's all I do. I help seniors enjoy their retirement much more. I make the golden years that much more golden. Or it can be more complex like this. So I'm going to read you hers. Maybe. Oh, here's what I came up with. Let me read a little bit before that. I crafted my reverse mortgage elevator pitch to introduce the product so that a discussion of its benefits could follow. In other words, all you're doing is it's a mental bulletin board. And then they go, wow, that's interesting. I need to know more. That's what an elevator pitch is set up to do. To begin with, I established 3 fundamentals when she was trying to go through her pitch. 1, I assumed that my audience would have little or no understanding of the product or its application. Zip. None. 2, my description needed to be simple, clear, easily understood, and reassuring to a skeptical audience. And 3, my pitch needed to resonate with senior homeowners as well as with professionals in order to stimulate additional discussion and questions. So here's what she came up with. All right. Here's what I came up with, what she says. Reverse mortgages have been around for decades. And this is a misnomer. It says in the 90s, it's really the 80s. In the 90s, Congress was concerned about the financial well-being of retirees and the future of Social Security. I found that America's seniors owned trillions of dollars in home equity. In a way, if a way were developed that allowed seniors to safely and securely tap into a portion of that equity to receive funds of additional income during retirement, millions of people could benefit. As a result, the government sponsored reverse mortgages, and it was created and signed into law by President Reagan. The reverse mortgage is simply a mortgage, just a regular mortgage, on the borrower's principal residence. Under the FHA program, 3 things determine how much money is available. The age of the borrower, it must be at least 62 years of age. The value of the home, the greater the value, the more funds are available. And the interest rate at the time of the loan. These factors are fed into a computer, and HUD's formula spits out a number. That number is the amount the borrower can get at that age, at that interest rate, and at that home value. After deducting the fees and costs of the loan, the borrower can receive cash, a line of credit, or a monthly income check that is guaranteed to come tax-free for the rest of their life, as long as they continue to live in the home. Unlike a regular mortgage, there's no requirements to make mortgage payments. The loan is eventually repaid when the home is sold after the borrower permanently moves or dies. I'd say pass away. The amount that is repaid is the amount that the borrower receives in cash and payments, the origination fees and costs that were financed in the loan, and the accrued interest and mortgage insurance premium. The remaining equity is the